Prayer is a worldwide staple upon religion. When you think about prayer, you might think that it's only used by those of the Christian faith hierarchy. But if you think about what the essence of prayer is, it doesn't have to. People of every faith pray at one time or another, so why can't those of the pagan or Wiccan faith? When a person prays, they are acknowledging their God's existence and asking them simple requests. It may be as simple as to watch over their family or to give them strength in a time of need, but it is always something to do with them specifically. And to my knowledge, not a lot of Wiccans pray or want to acknowledge prayer at all, which I get why. Most have come from a very strict Christian background, and they want to not be reminded of that time in their lives. But for me, I noticed that a lot of what we do is a type of prayer. Now think about it. When we call quarters, aren't we saying a little prayer to grab the attention of the elements or entities in which we need to call and asking something of them? I think we are. So why not take it a bit further? I have been saying prayers specifically for the past 3 years now. The reason I started doing this was to help send healing energy to those in need. I never asked for any type of payment in return either. I just wanted to genuinely help others. And I always got a good review or news from those prayers that I did, which that's awesome. But something else became apparent. I felt a stronger connection with my deities when saying prayers. I always felt a strong connection before, but this just seemed to amplify it even more. So I started to do prayers just for me. Now, I always wanted to keep saying a prayer, especially when life wanted to get crazy and keep me from my temple for any length of time. I do a prayer a few times a week. I wouldn't always be vocal. Sometimes I'd just say it inside of my head. But I'd always do it. And you know what? It's been amazing. Prayer has kept me connected to my deities when I didn't have the time to do any spells. When I couldn't get the time to do a circle that needed to be done or anything else. It kept me connected. So, if you choose to do prayers, it doesn't have to take a long time. Only 5 minutes will do. It doesn't matter where you're at or what you're doing at the time. Most of us, whenever we do our jobs or do mediocre tasks, we always have our mind thinking about other things at that time anyway. So, I suggest doing it on the go, in your car, or doing it at your altar even. You can say the prayer that you prefer over and over again, or you can say a different one if you'd like to. I usually say a new one every time I do it, but I used a certain format to do that. Now here's what I use. For the first step, you want to acknowledge your deity or deities. Second, you want to say what you're thankful for. It could be something small to something big. It doesn't have to be anything specific, but I usually thank them specifically for what I'm thankful for. Next, what have you learned from them? Did they teach you a certain skill? Did they point you in a certain direction in your time of life in which you needed some direction? Just what have you learned from them? After that, you want to ask them what you're needing. What at this time and point are you needing from them? What are you praying for? Step 5, You want to tell them something personal that only you know. It doesn't have to be something huge or something hurtful. It could just be some little quirk or some joke that made you really happy that day, but something that really means something to you. And then the last step is to thank them for their time and their guidance in your life. Now that we got the format of what the prayer structure is, I want to point out that you do not make promises to them unless you will keep them. It is very important that you don't make promises to them. If you do, they will hold you to them. It's the same as if you asked elementals or spirits for favors as well. You do not make promises unless you will keep them. They will hold you up to those promises. So if you do make a deal with them and you forget about it, prepare to have something happen to you that really disrupts your life. It will be big enough to make you wonder, what did you ever do to deserve this? And you'll remember the deal that you've made, and you'll just think, oh shit. So if you do make a deal, make a note somewhere, put it in your phone, put it in your calendar. If you had a specific date or time, make it to where it will always be on your mind. Or pay them what you have promised early. I will give them a drink of alcohol and some tobacco. That's usually what I use for offerings. Now this is because I always have them on hand. But you can also do so with breads, nuts, seeds, meats, anything that's seasonal that comes around every season. They really love that. Or something personal will work for the offering. But if you do make the deal with them, pay them what they're due. Now for prayer, I hope this has helped you a lot, and I hope you have really good experiences with them as I have in my practice. Now don't expect any results immediately. Don't expect to be touched on the shoulder, to be talked to right away. Do not expect anything from them. That's the important part about prayer. It's getting connection to your deities and making that time for them. That's really important. Now, if you do ask something of them in a prayer, that's perfectly fine, but make it personal to you. Every once in a while I do post certain prayers to the goddess and horn god on my Twitter account. You could always join me there. I don't always post it weekly, but I do have my own prayer services in which, if you don't want to do a prayer, or you need a prayer specifically for someone or even yourself, friends, family, it doesn't matter what faith they are. It doesn't matter what they believe in. If they're atheists and they don't believe in the gods, or they don't believe in anything that you believe in, that's perfectly fine. But if they need a prayer and you are in needing of them to be helped, you can always sign up on my website. It's at BluMoonSpells.com. It's BluMoonSpells.com. I hope this has helped you, and I hope that you will continue to pray to your deities, and I hope you do get great results from them. Thank you. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Blessed be.